Okay, let's talk about an investment that literally never crashes. It can't go to zero, and it only grows over time. And no, I'm not talking about stocks or crypto or real estate. I'm talking about an investment in your mind, your body, and your mindset. So yeah, let's dive right into this because today we're going to break down the most powerful, totally crash-proof asset you will ever own. And that asset? It's you. So let me just start by asking you a really simple question. What's your single most valuable asset? Just think about it for a second. Is it your house, maybe your car, the money in your bank account? Well, whatever you just thought of, we're about to challenge that whole idea. And here's the thing. The problem for most of us is that we get so caught up in the daily grind, the job, the bills, constantly worrying about the future, and we just completely forget about our most important asset. We kind of lose ourselves in that rat race. I mean, we're taught this from a super young age, right? Get good grades, land a good job, make a lot of money, you know the drill. So we end up chasing all these external symbols of success, the fancy title, the high salary, getting that approval from our boss or our friends. And yet, even when we get it all, there's often this feeling like you're disconnected, almost empty. This reminds me of a story about this young guy. He spent all his energy just trying to please everyone around him, meeting every single expectation. His thinking was, if everyone else is happy, then I'll find peace. But on the inside, he was just breaking down. His energy was totally gone, motivation vanished. And then one day, he just stopped. And he asked himself this one transformative question. That moment, that's where his whole life started to change.
So, okay, what's the solution here? It's all about shifting your focus, shifting from constantly seeking things on the outside to building yourself up on the inside. It's about making a truly unshakable investment in yourself.
And this idea of self-investment, it's really just the simple, daily practice of upgrading your inner world. That's it. And it is the only asset that is genuinely crash-proof. Think about it. Markets go up and down, fortunes can change overnight. But the value you build inside yourself, your clarity, your health, the skills you learn, nobody can ever take that away from you. Okay, now I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a huge commitment, right? But it's really not. What if I told you that this whole thing, it all starts with just one number, 30 minutes? Yep, that's it, just 30 minutes a day. If you dedicate that to learning something new, say the basics of coding, or trying to pick up some conversational Spanish, you'd get over 180 hours of focused practice in just 1 year. It's so true that we tend to overestimate what we can do in a single day, but we drastically underestimate what we can pull off with small, consistent effort over a whole year.
All right, so how do we actually do this? Let's start with upgrading our internal software. And by that I mean our mind, our health, and our discipline.
I want you to think of your mind like a really high-powered computer. Seriously. You wouldn't let your laptop run on software that's like 10 years old, right? Of course not. It would get slow, buggy, probably vulnerable to viruses. Well, the exact same thing is true for your mind. If you stop feeding it new knowledge, new ideas, new ways of looking at things, it just gets stuck in old, outdated patterns of thinking.
And this brings us to a really crucial difference: discipline versus motivation. Look, motivation is that spark that gets you all excited to go to the gym on January 1st. It feels amazing, but it's temporary. It fades. Discipline, on the other hand, is the fuel. It's what keeps you going in February when it's cold outside and you're just not feeling it. So you see, motivation is just a feeling, but discipline, that's a commitment. One gets you started, but the other one is what actually gets you across the finish line.
And honestly, none of this other stuff matters if your foundation is weak. And when we talk about health, it's not about some extreme diet or spending hours and hours in the gym. It's about these small, simple, conscious actions. A 10-minute walk, getting enough sleep, eating real food. This is the foundation that your confidence, your focus, and your energy are built on. And without it, everything else, it's eventually just going to crumble. Okay, so once we start getting that inner world in order, we can turn our attention to mastering the two most critical resources in our outer world, our time and our network. The richest person on the planet and the poorest person on the planet, they have exactly one thing in common. They both get 24 hours in a day. The only difference is how they use it. We can either spend our time on passive stuff that just drains us, or we can invest it in actions that are actually going to build our future. It's a choice, and it's a choice we have to make really every single hour. And that's exactly why this choice is so incredibly important. I mean, you can always go out and make more money, you can always build new relationships, but you can never, ever, ever get back a single second of lost time. It is truly our most precious, non-renewable resource.
All right, let's talk about that second external resource, your network. The people you surround yourself with, they act as either an anchor or an engine. A negative, complaining circle of friends, they'll slowly drag you down and drain your ambition, and you might not even realize it's happening. But a supportive, inspiring network, they're an engine. They'll push you to grow in ways you just never could on your own.
So here's the question you really need to ask yourself. Real growth, it happens when you're challenged. It happens when you're around people who are frankly better than you at something. People who inspire you to level up. If you look around and you're always the smartest person in the room, you're not learning. You might just be in the wrong room.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. But let's be real. All of this is pretty much useless without the final, most critical step, turning what you know into what you actually do.
It's like this story I heard about a guy who watched hundreds, maybe thousands of workout videos. He knew every single exercise, every diet plan, every technique. But he never, not once, actually set foot inside a gym. So guess what? His body never changed. Because knowing the path is completely different from actually walking the path. Knowledge that you don't apply, it's just entertainment.
So what's the secret sauce then? It's this incredibly simple but powerful three-step formula. Step 1, learn something new. Step 2, apply it. Immediately, even in a tiny way. And step 3, repeat. Do it over and over until it becomes a habit. That right there, that's how information turns into real transformation.
And please, don't wait until you have it all figured out. Because, spoiler alert, you never will. You don't need some perfect, elaborate plan. You just need to start. Taking action, even if it's messy, imperfect action, that's what creates clarity. Trust me, you'll learn so much more by doing, and yeah, by failing, than you ever will by just sitting around and thinking about it.
Ultimately, it really all boils down to this one idea. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your mind. It just is. So when you invest in making your mind stronger, clearer, and more resilient, you are quite literally building the foundation for a more powerful life. So I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. This doesn't have to be some huge, life-altering change. Not at all. Maybe it's just reading for 10 minutes tonight, or just going for that walk you've been putting off. Or maybe it's sending a quick message to someone you really admire. The question is, what is the one small investment you're going to make in yourself starting today?